Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Deep Drop for another episode. I'm Luke Mccredden, and as always, Adam Ring joins me. Ads, great to be back on air.
Yeah, great to be back. And as usual, we'll sit here and ask all the deep questions and try and...
Boys.
Hey, hang on.
You are not on the Deep Drop.
Oh.
You are, in fact, on Wind Against
Did
Tide
I turn up
tonight.
to the wrong studio?
We're at
You
the wrong
have.
studio again, Adam. This is
You're in the wrong part of town, boys. But nonetheless, welcome to our studio.
Hey, yes, well, you know.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for having us. Adrian, how are you going over there?
Oh, I'm going good. Just pressing lots of buttons and trying to work out what's going on. Is it my show or your show?
Oh, look.
While you're pressing the buttons, mate, it's...
You know what it is? It's the listeners' show.
Oh, that's
Oh,
exactly
watch it.
right.
There you go. There you
He's
go.
smooth. He's a smooth operator, isn't he?
I believe in the industry we call this a cross promotion. Is that right, Luke? You're the industry man.
Yeah. There was a thing once upon a time where podcasters would do each other's shows and call it a swap pass, a swap cast.
Oh, really?
There you go.
But yeah, I don't know.
What are they swapping?
Well, I think and maybe this is something we can do down the track. I think they'd record it and each of them would release it as an episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can't have this.
We
This
don't
is
want.
for us.
We don't want this. We don't want this scum on our channel.
Well, that's fair enough.
No, don't be silly.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about your podcast, boys?
Nah.
No?
Well, I thought we started one, and then
Yeah.
so he's kind of...
Well, I think Adam, you always tend to give a pretty good descriptor of what our show is about. So maybe you can lead off.
Seems
Well-
that Luke doesn't know what his own show
Yeah.
is about.
I haven't heard it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I think like with most podcasts, we had an idea, and then once we actually started recording it, it was nothing like the idea that we had at the start, because we tried to answer all these questions that you would just talk amongst yourselves about, whether it be on the road on the way to a fishing trip.
I noticed that one of the questions I saw come up was when a bald man washes his face, how high up does it go? How high up does he actually go? Because did you get any answers to that question?
Write that one down, Luke. We might feature.
We did get that question come through as a message. We didn't quite get to it. I'm sorry, Adrian. Maybe someone listening tonight can answer that one.
Yeah, get involved.
But you're right. It's very much the idea of, and you guys fish as much as anyone that I know. When you're out in the boat, things are quiet, or you're in the car on the way on a bit of a road trip doing something, or just sitting around having a beer.
Most of the time, we just take the piss out of each other.
Well,
and we
a
push
lot
each
of
other
that.
to the limit.
And this is what it's become.
Yeah,
because
that's right.
Adam, I don't want to speak for you, but I think you and I both openly admit that we're just punters. Like
Yeah,
we're just regular anglers. Dave sort of tends to call himself a pro, but and that's okay.
Or is he selling fish? Is he?
If I don't, no one else will. So
But what we do is ask questions that we all kind of think from time to time.
Yeah.
Some of them are weird, some of them are a bit more serious, but I think we tend to just give our thoughts and see how it goes.
And even the serious ones turn into a little bit of banter
yeah.
between the two. And that's what fishing's always been about for us. We've known each other and fished together for quite a long time. We've worked in the industry for a long time, and it's just about having a crack at those funny questions that you sit there when not much is happening.
Yeah.
And you just start talking.
That's awesome. And that's all it's about. We love the fishing for that banter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think one of the best things, or the most satisfying things so far, and I think we've only just released episode 7, is the engagement. And because I think that was one of the things from the start, is we want to put it to other people out there, because we're just talking a bit of rubbish. But what the questions do is open up.
he said doo-doo.
Do. What? There's Dave's input for the night. What they
All right,
do
see you, boys.
is open up for any opinion. And because fishing is one of the greatest things ever, because there's so many things that there's no definitive answer, or it's an opinion piece.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
And I see you've structured your questions quite nicely in order to generate that discussion.
Yeah. And it's working. We're getting some awesome feedback.
Yeah.
And some are having a bit of a laugh. Some are saying, this is what I think. And it's awesome. I'm learning stuff.
Yeah, no, I love it. And where do you see the show going from here? Like, what's the end goal?
I reckon
your
they're
show?
taking tips from us, Dave, and that's why they're here tonight. They're looking around, and snooping, and go, "Oh, we can better this.
I've got a couple of cameras in my pocket already."
That's right.
No, I don't know. I think one of the things we wanted to do from the outset is not put pressure on ourselves with where it needs to be. And so we, without giving away any great secrets, we record in advance quite a bit because we want to release it weekly, but then we also don't want to say, oh, I got to do a show tonight. So there's a few in the can, but I think we'll just let it go where it needs to go.
Yeah, and we're able to do that because nothing at the moment is really structured around any specific one thing that's happening within fishing or the industry at the moment. And we've had a few discussions on what we can do to maybe a little bit more topical as parts of the season progress, but we're still working it out.
A little bit
together as
less political kind of side, or more political?
No,
less.
Less. Yeah.
But one thing that happened that we might venture into a little bit more of is having a special guest. We had a guest on for the episode that was released last night for the first time. We've never
Was it
had
Rex
anyone
Hunt?
else.
We saw. I know who it is, but I won't spoil it for everyone else.
No, it's out there.
That's
It's
out.
out.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Dave thinks he's got some special leak. Like he thinks he's like some hierarchy that sits on the chair. I approved this episode.
We do send them all through to Dave for approval.
I did get to see one of the first ones before it did go to air, Adrian.
That's
So
true,
Yeah.
actually. That's true.
I
I did.
said, boys, don't do it. You're not cut
It's
out
horrible.
for this.
Yeah, no, that's true. I did. We sent you through an episode. We just thought we'll get someone who's got some ears in the game at the moment and see what they think. And you said,
We'll get a nice yes
it.
man who will
Yeah.
pump us up, give us.
Now we've had someone write in on the live stream. Is that the bloke from Talking Fishing? So you've done some podcast style presenting before.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, not so much in the podcast space.
It's like a panel show.
Yeah, exactly. Which is exactly why I continue to do it, because I don't have to do much.
Yeah.
I just turn up on a Tuesday night
just
and
nod your head?
that's right. Throw a couple of cheapies in every now and then.
Adam's also well seasoned in radio too.
Is
He
he?
was doing, I think, guest spots on AW for years.
Yeah,
wasn't he?
Well, started at
Not even guest spots. You were
Casey
co-hosting,
Radio,
yeah.
just in Cranbourne there,
Yep.
and did a little bit for 3AW, and then now doing stuff for 3MP as well. But
Oh,
more
wow.
reports based, like really, like from that week only, covering the reports, and we just carry on a bit of an
You
old
can say
format
it. It's not as fun as this.
there. It's not.
It's a bit more rigid. Actually, the very first time I went on air, Luke actually got me in on the Casey Radio program, and it was very, very bad on my behalf. But
Well, in case you were wondering, Dave, the format hasn't changed at all.
wait. Let me clarify it. I wasn't saying the show was very bad. I was saying my first foray into recording, not so good.
I doubt that. I don't remember it, but I doubt it was bad. You've always been, because I think we all used to get you on for chats on the phone and stuff. And I said,
Yeah, you did.
get
that,
in
yeah.
here.
Yeah,
Get
that's
in
right. We've scraped the bottom of the barrel. Let's get this kid in here and see what he can do.
It's all good fun, but I think the overarching thing here is it's a great medium, podcast, radio, whatever it is, to just have a chat about the sport hobby, whatever you want to call it, that we love.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny you were saying, Adam, like it starts off with an idea and then it just morphs into something else. At least you guys had an idea to start off with. Adrian was just like, nah, we'll just go with it, Dave. It'll be right. And
It was funny because we had the thing just sitting there. I'm like, come over, Dave. And we kind of just sat there and go, I'll just hit record, Dave.
Yeah.
And we're like, we hadn't written anything down. We had no topics discussed. And we go, oh, okay, let's just smooth into this. And it actually ended
But it's
up,
not a bad way of doing it, though, because you find your voice, like you find your rhythm. And I think we spoke about the deep drop for a long time before we actually put anything on down, because we both we knew we've spoken into microphones for years, so we were comfortable with that. But we're like, we don't want to waste our time. We want to have an idea of what at least we want to talk about. But we were spitballing, like you were just saying, just talking for ages, and thought, that could be recordable.
Yeah, and then a couple of little test recordings to see how it sounded, and then basically just let it do its own thing, really.
So I think it's a good way to do it, the way you've done it, and it's turned into a great show.
You almost don't want
Your
any...
show, I mean.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm not pumping
I knew you were talking about our show.
That's
And he said, great. Yeah. No, you almost don't want any viewers at the start because you're so crap that you're like and if anyone is just watching for the first time now, I plead with you, don't go back to episode 1. Please start it.
Nah, do it. It's the best ever. When Wind Against Tide becomes the Joe Rogan podcast of the fishing outdoors in Australia, and you go back and listen to those first few, it's going to be a laugh.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, I'd start at about 12. Do you think, Adrian?
I reckon start at least 43.
What are you up to? What's this?
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
63.
What? No,
What you're going to say is start at 62.
No, hey, is I don't, I'm not trying to make this about me, but I believe one of my first episodes with you guys was polled quite well in the old download
Yeah,
stats.
Oh yeah, the algorithm got you going on YouTube, and I think it got a retention rate of 3%, but that's okay.
Hey, no one looks at that.
Yeah, we're only focusing on clicks.
Yeah, it's clicks.
I think that was when we got about 200 views for a fortnight, and that one actually went to 2,500 very quickly. It was a shock to us all.
You're welcome.
Probably not a shock to you, but
No, it's not.
Yes,
yeah.
thank you. I'll acknowledge that you have made us the success that we are right now,
Yep.
and we
Thank
really
you.
do appreciate it.
Thanks. You're welcome.
So, yeah.
So what is actually happening with you guys? Like, what do you do for your day jobs? Because it's you guys still in the fishing industry. What's going on with it?
For sure.
Because there's a lot moving around in the background in the fishing industry.
There's a lot happening, man. It's a really it's a really interesting time in the tackle industry, in the retail industry, in
Because the local tackle shop guy is becoming, quite a small portion of where you can buy your tackle these days.
yeah. Look, I think it's a bit of a shift in.
It's a niche trade these days.
Yeah. I think there's always going to be room for the independent retailer, but it's a shift in retail in every category, like whether you're furniture or fishing tackle or whatever it is. But it's a really interesting time, but it's an exciting time because the idea and the desire to go fishing is not going away.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
while there's things shifting in the industry and I've seen it from a sort of I suppose a head office level of retail brands and ads you from a tackle point of view, there's heaps happening and changing, but it's always moving forward, I think.
Yeah, I think the industry as a whole is going through a little bit of a transition at the moment. There's a lot happening at a retail level. I think we all expected online to completely take it over, in particular over that COVID period when everybody was home. But I don't think it seems to have hit as hard as what we all thought. But we are seeing.
I reckon fishing and boating became a greater revenue for all these retail people because they couldn't get enough boats, enough motors, enough fishing gear. And
That's because in lockdown, everyone sat at home watching like fishing videos.
When you're against tide.
Yeah.
But I think the
that's
thing,
like Quintrex have sold out of boats.
yeah.
They've been watching Adrian.
But you're right. I think you're right. Like the one thing that's great, or one of the things that's great about what the fishing industry is that it's not going to, like I said, it's not going to go away. Like there's always a desire for it. So as far as retail goes, there was obviously a couple of tough periods for, especially like Metro Melbourne, I think especially was just shut down. But the bounce back has been unbelievable. Like
the bounce back was crazy. That was some of the busiest times I'd seen in the retail sector working in a tackle shop for
when they allowed you to go fishing for 2 hours a day.
Yeah. Well, Casey Fields kept everyone afloat where I'm from.
I believe Mitch Chapman caught all those trout, those poor kids.
But I saw him grabbing rods off kids. I just, I don't want to say it out there, but I saw what I saw.
I saw him kick a kid in the water.
The kid's like, I've got one, buddy. And Mitch just comes over and white hicks them. Yeah, no, he's a horrible man. We can all agree on that, can't we?
Yeah.
I think what we were kind of leading to there is that you two both, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, met working in the fishing industry or tackle
working
world.
at Cranbourne Tackle, was it?
Yep.
And news over the last week is that two of those stores, Mornington and Cranbourne, and no longer. Why don't you talk us through that and, maybe some of the memories you have from your days working there, guys?
I mean, you're more well-versed.
He's a Rapala man. He's against tackle world. Come on.
They were my customers.
Yeah.
They're costing me money.
It was actually quite funny because I was in a tackle store about 2 or 3 months ago down in Hastings and Adam's in there. I'm like, what's Tackle World doing in Andrew Paper's shop?
Well, it was funny because they convinced one of the young fellas in there that I'd taken his spot and I was working there.
That would have probably been Memphis.
Yeah, poor Memphis was sitting there going, what's he doing in here?
I think he's constantly on edge of being fired, to be honest.
But it's certainly the end of an era, isn't it? Like, I mean, for someone, I spent, 5-ish years in there, and ads you spent a lot longer, but it was pretty incredible times. I know it just sounds maybe from an outsider point of view like it's just a tackle store, but it was far more than that. It was a pretty special place for a number of years.
Yeah, well, so I essentially grew up there. I ended up working there for 16 years before I started working for Rapala earlier this year. And like some of the closest friends that I've got now, I met in that shop.
I heard that you actually wanted to be Mitch Chapman himself.
Well, you
Where'd you
know,
hear that from Mitch?
you probably heard it from Mitch. And,
Well, hang on, we got some photos here. And what's this one?
No.
Oh,
So
no.
he's wearing Mitch's outfit and he's dressed as Mitch.
Gee, we're a lot skinnier then.
Oh, God.
Well, that was actually a funny story. That was a dress up party.
I actually can't even tell if that's Mitch or Adam.
Yeah, it's not bad.
The wig's
not
spot
bad.
on, I reckon.
Yeah.
So I actually went dressed as Mitch to a dress up party. I can't remember what it was. I know it was for those.
Was it Halloween?
No, it was for Rentlow, and everyone knows Rentlow. I think it was something starting with M or something like that. So yeah, I dressed up as Mitch, and
Fair enough.
yeah, no one knew who. I just thought it was some weirdo dressed as a basketball dude with the wig on.
No, he's quite a big deal, I think, isn't he?
Is that him there as well?
Oh Jesus Christ! I get stitched up.
You are. I had nothing to do with this. I promise. This is amazing.
I have known Mitch a very long time.
What sort of guitar was that?
Oh mate, BC Rich
BC
Warlock,
Rich was-
metal as
I
hell.
think it was just a Samick from the second hand.
And I'm pretty sure that was Mitch's bass.
Yeah. Samick.
Lovely
He's just looking down on the brand Samick.
Yeah. Samick. No, I think my first ever guitar was a Samick. But anyway,
Yeah, we were discussing the
the
closing. of
tackle
your-
store.
Yeah, so yeah, she's all over. End of an era for those two big shops.
Yeah.
Have been around a long time, but you know, all good things come to an end, and
Absolutely.
onwards and upwards.
And you got to, I know, Paul built and Christy obviously took that over from Christy's dad in whatever year. And they,
Oh, was it Christie's dad's store before?
yeah.
Oh, and Paul just married into
Yeah.
the business.
And
He's a gold digger.
I love that. I'm going to
I've
call him
never
that.
seen it from that perspective before.
No,
Very- very
That's
interesting.
brilliant.
No, but don't just go easy because we're trying to get Paul on the show.
No,
but-
I spoke to him
I've
yesterday.
already texted him and told him what's going on.
I think that's the first thing I'll say.
I
to
spoke
him.
to him yesterday, and he's
Yeah.
very keen to come on.
Oh, good.
Obviously, he's very busy at this
Yeah.
stage in his life, but
No, just every stage of his life.
Yeah, that's right. Busiest man
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
But,
well,
but
he might have some time after this.
Yeah,
free time.
true.
100%.
Podcasting time.
they certainly built that from the ground up as to what it became and what it was, and it is certainly the end of an unbelievable era in retail around here. And it'd be
do you reckon it's a strange time to do it just before Christmas with the Christmas trade?
I think it's not a bad time to do it if you want to clear stock.
Okay, that's a good
Oh.
way to look at it.
I don't know. Look, the thing is,
You don't want to accumulate too much stock around Christmas,
yeah.
because I've heard Adam's accumulated a few things around Christmas
What
time.
photo have you got now?
This is
I don't
good.
have
What
any
have you got?
What have I
photos,
done
but-
now?
What is
But there's no photos.
Oh.
But I heard he used to pinch Christmas gnomes from people's houses.
Oh, you've been talking to Chapman.
Wow. Let's hear about this.
give us a telltale about this Christmas story. He was a Christmas Grinch going around stealing.
Oh,
This was
well,
last year, by the way.
There was one house. There was one house not too far away from where I grew up, and I'm taking Chapman down with me because he would come over. And there was one house that went the full box and dice. Like they had the big blow up, like glowing, like snowman and reindeer, and yeah, we didn't get him. Possibly nearly
That was the goal.
Possibly nearly got caught a couple of times.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
Yeah,
mate,
he said that was the number one thing he had to get was that blow up Santa.
yeah, that's right.
and you never got
He
it.
came close. He came real
Yeah.
close. Real close. One time in particular. It was a couple of years we went back and tried to
That's
make this
amazing.
happen. But
So where are all these gnomes now?
no, we returned them because we're good. Yeah. No, we didn't. I don't know. I think no lie. I think we ended up taking them all to one of the girls I went to primary school with. I think we took them around to her place and just left them all in the backyard.
well, there's always this year to complete the
The
thievery.
set.
We'll win.
The blow
We'll
up
get this
Santa.
done.
Mitch is on it.
Yeah.
He's already told me. He goes, I'm on it this year.
He might be on his own.
I'll be the one in the background just filming it.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey.
everyone's asking. I want to watch you guys trying to worm out of this. Is who has purchased Tackle World stores? What's happening with it? People want to know. Here we go.
I mean, is it? Yeah.
I don't necessarily
'cause I
think.
don't know
No,
if
well,
it's-
I don't necessarily think they were purchased.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So basically, from what
Hey,
I
you don't work for Tackle World anymore, so you can say whatever
yeah,
you like.
I know, but I still do know Paul quite
Yeah.
well, and I just don't know if he has publicly put anything
Yeah, I
out.
don't
But
think so.
there's going to be a few changes in the iFish space as well, which will all make sense when it all goes out. And I'm sure someone will write in and tell us
Win against
if it
Thai
has.
fish.
Oh,
Oh,
collab.
breaking news.
Yeah.
No, I knew that you'd have a very professional answer like that, and I just thought I'd see how you navigated
Yeah,
that little.
I think
Until it goes out.
respectfully it'll come out when it needs to and,
Yeah,
and
no,
whatever. I don't think it's. I also
fun.
don't think it's overly controversial. I just think it's respectfully. It'll just let it happen.
Yeah, not my
No,
news
that's
to
right.
tell.
Yeah, well, okay, good answer. So our good friend Jonas just asked a podcasting question for everyone here. He wants to know what's some common mistakes which can be made by podcast presenters.
Some common. Not hitting record is probably the biggest one.
Yeah, computers freezing on the live stream.
There's so many buttons that you can not press
Yeah.
that doesn't make anything work at
Well,
all. Like I've
especially
got
for you,
microphones and blah blah
you
blah,
need-
and
yeah, you
things
need
going
more
up
fingers.
and down. And
I don't know. I think it depends what sort of podcast you're doing. I think Adam and I discovered very early on that trying to censor ourselves just was not going to work. So we just went, don't worry about it. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
So, because it's very much the way we speak. So we just, I hope it doesn't.
you know what
offend
I
too
find?
many
People
but-
love when you're yourself. When you
Yeah.
try put a different persona on,
Yeah.
they go, "Who's that idiot?"
Yeah.
Just be yourself.
Yeah.
And there's so much content,
And-
and people are so switched on to that these days too.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
it's
that's
not worth
actually probably a good answer. Like, what's the thing that you can? What was it?
it. Just do whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
Whoever
it's a
wants,
bit-
it's so easy to find content. If people enjoy it, they'll watch it. It's that simple. Don't expect everyone to watch everything every week, but consistency is huge.
Yeah,
Mm.
And
for
it's one
sure.
thing that Luke and I discussed quite a lot in the initial planning to our own podcast was if we couldn't commit to do it consistently, it wasn't worth doing it.
Don't worry about. Yeah.
For sure. And I think one of the main issues that people have when they start off podcasting is that they're not listening to the person that they're talking to properly, because
What's
too
that?
often you hear someone.
No, you're right.
You're very funny,
I
man.
agree. I agree with what you're saying, though.
Yeah, I think if you listen to the entirety of what they're saying, then you can come up with a relevant answer rather than cutting them off. And
Yeah,
then
you get
just-
to engage with them and make a good sense out of the conversation.
And depending what the theme of the show is, too, I think people, because podcasts have been around for a fair while now, and there's so many to consume. I've heard a few that aren't fishing; they're just whatever. But that people tend to put on a podcast voice. Have you noticed that? And use
Definitely
podcast
noticed it with
language.
Luke.
Have not noticed.
But it's weird, and it's exactly what you're saying. That they've got these preconceived ideas of what they're going to say, and they're so eager to say them. You'll be mid sentence, and I'll just go and just have to blurt it out, and it's just like what? That doesn't work. What
Well,
are
I think
doing?
when you're recording stuff, you want to be more well spoken. You want to be speaking clearer, so people on the other end can hear your sentence in
True.
a better format than just blurting it out.
Yeah. But I guess if you're trying too hard, it becomes a bit
robotic.
fake. Yeah, a bit robotic.
Yeah.
Just writing
um,
down notes.
Too
here.
polished.
Stop trying so hard.
But,
I'll
but
find that one very difficult.
podcasting is such a great free medium that I think you can't really do anything wrong. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
just do it.
Absolutely.
Be yourself.
Well, yeah, you're only going to annoy the people watching.
Yeah, but
you
they
beat
don't have
yourself,
to. They don't
but
have to
yeah.
listen
Yeah.
if they don't want to. Do you know
that's
what I mean?
right. Yep.
I think that's key. So
Yeah, I
people-
think, and yeah, I don't know if we already mentioned this, but just doing it for the love of it. Like if we had have just gotten down about the fact that we had bugger all interactions at the start, we would have just stopped after. I saw a stat recently, actually, and it was some tiny percentage of podcasts even make it past like 5 episodes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I reckon I've seen something
Yeah.
similar on the stats of that.
What episode are you guys up to?
7.
4?
So we're good.
Oh, you
Yeah,
good.
You're
But I
going-
think
going well.
I think that's a really good point. I reckon there's two. Well, there's probably more, but a couple of ways to look at it is one, do it because you love it, or do it because you're earning. Like, do it for business.
Yeah, but run it as a business.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, if you want to turn it into something that's going to potentially be something you'll pursue as a career, treat it like a business.
Treat it like that. Yeah.
Because there's so much more to just hitting record, as you guys know. I mean, I can see all the bits and pieces over there.
Mm.
And to give you an idea on how good I am at running a business, Luke had to teach me how to use Instagram.
Made any money on Instagram yet?
Yeah, mate,
Your OnlyFans?
I've only just learned how to put something up as a story, so and I'm flying.
Actually, we should give Adrian a shout out. I'm so harsh on him all the time, but he is over there with his fingers going like he's playing the keyboard.
Who, me?
Yeah. That's
And-
that's true. It's amazing. And I feel so much love in the room tonight.
And
Dave.
he manages to still maintain somewhat of a conversation, even though it might not make any sense to anyone listening. He's doing his best, everyone.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm getting a message through. Show us your nipple piercing. Adam?
I don't have a nipple piercing. Jesus.
All right, I didn't know I had one.
Yeah. No, I don't think I do.
It's not the nipple. Moving on.
Yeah, what's going on there? Is someone sending messages?
Yeah,
I know exactly what he's talking about.
We can't just do a whole episode of Mitch making
Yeah,
references that
when,
nobody
when Mitch
understands.
has his mates come on, he's brutal. He's on the text message to me the whole time.
No.
He's like shaking his head.
Confiscate that phone, Luke.
He's stitching me up
Yeah,
massive.
he
Chapman.
is. Yeah,
Oh, don't be
photos
su-
on the screen and everything.
Don't be surprised if he comes through the door. He's done that to me before.
He's in Queensland, so we're not going to see him today.
Okay, be surprised then if he does. Well, I suppose we should talk about some fishing because I think
Yeah.
there's been some fishing going on. We'll start with our guests. Adam,
I, for the first time in a long time, went fishing on Western Port
you did.
last week.
Yeah, nice.
Got a few whiting. It was really good because I must admit I don't spend a lot of time on Western Port,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
it was
yes.
good to go and
on the pea soup port.
yeah.
Were they those big fat suckers? The whiting.
Oh,
Not the people you were fishing with.
Yeah,
Yeah, who was it?
What fat thing is he sucking?
I knew that. I really am getting stitched up tonight. No, they were
Don't
good.
take
They were
it
good
out of
fish.
context, Lee.
Yeah.
Come on.
They were good fish. But Western Port is a system that spins me out. As soon as the tide starts running, I'm the first one to admit it freaks me out. I don't know what to do. I just don't. Like you got 15, 16 ounces on, can't hold bottom. Like, how you
Jesus,
ever
how
gonna
deep are you fishing?
Oh no, in general, like
Yeah.
for the whiting,
Yeah.
for the whiting we weren't. But you try and fish light, so it's awesome, and the sinkers are loading up the rods. and
It's funny you
it's a
say that
spinner.
because we got back to the ramp and this old guy was chatting to us about his story of fishing. And we go, how'd you go? Oh, got nothing. And he goes to Dave, oh, do you want this yakka? And it's the Aussie salmon. and I go, did you get any gummies or snapper? He goes, nah, couldn't get a bite. And I look at his rods. He's still got the bait just sun-dried on his hooks.
Oh.
And he's got a little ball sinker.
Yeah.
I was thinking, that thing's not even getting to the bottom. How's he getting the
He
bite?
done well to get the yakka.
Which was an
Well,
Australian salmon.
Yeah.
Also, I did see that man's heart break in half, and Adrian corrected him.
Yeah.
Oh, you did you?
I wasn't there when it happened. Hang on.
Brutal.
Oh, he gave it to me.
I
I'm
went
like,
and
yeah,
passed-
that's a good yakka.
The story goes, this guy, Dave's waiting for me to park the car and he gives Dave, he goes, do you want a yakka? And just hands it to Dave. And Dave didn't even know it was alive. And then we put it in Dave's boat and it starts flapping around. Anyway, I go, oh, nice salmon in your hand, Dave. Where'd you get that? And he goes, he thinks it's a yakka.
Well, he was probably thinking, this guy thinks it's a salmon.
Yeah, look at this idiot over here.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You got a few?
Yeah, we got a few. It was good. It was never red hot, but we got fish everywhere we went.
Yeah, beautiful.
Just fishing, just 6 meter drops for whiting.
Awesome.
It was awesome.
They're
Did
both
you use
kind
any
of-
poppers on the whiting in Western Port?
Can't say I did.
Have you?
Have you? Yeah, I feel like you're about to launch into a story, Adrian.
Because
No,
I'm
no.
all ears if
yeah,
you did.
yeah.
Now, Dave loves his whiting fishing.
We spent a good 10 or so trips trying to catch whiting on lures in Western Port. And we did get one eventually. It was like undersized.
On what?
On a hard body or a
It was
plastic?
on a jackal chubby. It was.
So it was
Yeah.
on a hard body.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a great effort.
That's a great.
Well, that's what we were mainly focusing on, rolling the divers over the shallow flats.
That-
And
So
That's
do
really
you think
cool.
it's a viable option to as something worth trying to work out?
I think the hard body is probably very difficult, but I
Mm.
definitely small worm imitation plastics.
You look at the
Yeah.
sand whiting in New South Wales, they love popping in those
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
streams and it works so well.
The on the Bellarine Peninsula, the soft plastic
Where's
fishing
that
for
in the
whiting is
world?
all on
Just for us Mornington
on the-
peninsulas.
on the sorry the western seaboard of Port Phillip Bay. Is that right? Yeah.
He doesn't even know where he lives.
Hang on, get Google.
Map. In Cryo Bay and around Queensland, but it's huge, like the soft. But yeah, having said that, they're almost fished a bit like bait in a lot of ways too. But they are. But yeah, a lot of people work them. But you could fish them just on a bait rig and catch them on it. But
Here's a deep drop style question for you. Do you think if people are fishing lures in a bait-like manner, it lessens the achievement of catching fish on the lure? A bug just flew in my eyeball.
I saw that.
But we'll carry
I
on.
thought you had a little aneurysm. He's going to finish the question.
My brain just snapped trying to structure that question properly.
I think the design of lures is to be worked. I mean, you work for the biggest lure company in the history of mankind. You give us your thoughts on it.
I think hard bodies, it's hard to get a fish by not doing anything.
Yeah.
Soft plastics is a little bit different because there's so many like efficient techniques where it means just casting and just
looks
holding
like
it.
bait and wriggles like bait and tastes like bait.
No, it doesn't even do anything. It's just a clump of plastic that smells good.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah,
And they just dead stick them there and hold them.
Yeah, and especially with a bit of tide, you could just have it on a rig on the bottom, and if it's got any sort of tail, it's going to work anyway.
Well, I guess there you go for snapper. If you were to take one of those octo style jigs, those Japanese style vertical jigs, drop it to the bottom, give it 2 winds, and sit it in a rod holder. Does it count as catching it on a lure?
Now, what are you thinking about those? Who's going to eat an eyeball on the bottom? The first time I saw that, go, what idiot of a fish is going to eat that?
It's a pretty sinker.
Basically. It's a dressed up sinker.
Fish are idiots, though, Adrian.
We did a trip ads years ago. Actually, was that photo that you guys put up today? That was from Narooma Bar, I think.
It was.
I think it might have been that trip.
But
we dedicated a whole day, maybe 2 days, just to fish Lacanis jigs. Do you remember Lacanis? Do they still do Lacanis jigs?
No, well, they do, but they're in various other formats.
Yeah. But that style of jig, and that's all we did for a couple of days, and just fished. And I think it was winter, so there was, not so much kingfish and stuff, but mowies and snapper and flathead and all sorts of sort of reef
Sergeant
species.
Baker.
So, but yeah, I mean, we got plenty of fish.
We got fish, but it was even then that style of fishing. You wouldn't say it was lure fishing because it's if you can wind consistently at a constant pace. And then when you get a hit, you just keep winding because if you strike, you put too much action if you strike, and it's all over.
That's true. That's true. It's not. Yeah, there's not a lot of action in it. It's a good question though.
No, well, what made me think of it was these guys. Next week's episode. What made me think of it was that these guys in Welshpool were catching the big snapper on jigs, and I had a mate go to me, "Oh, I bet they're cheating. They're putting a squid tentacle on the assist hook, and they're just leaving them in the rod holder."
Yeah.
Well, see, that poses another question. Like, are they realistically just fishing
with a sinker?
Yeah, that's right. A pretty
With a bit of
sinker
bait
with
on
some bait. Yeah.
It's a blurred fine line.
Yeah.
By the way, looking at that photo from Narooma, I was wondering today when I looked at it if that was a professional photo shoot because you were both looking like you were trying to do a candid shot where
it did, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was probably 6 years ago, and I think we had the deep drop in mind.
Yeah.
So we thought, let's do a photo shoot.
It's been a work in progress.
Just in case we release a podcast in 6 years' time.
Yeah. The photographer's like, Adam, make it look like you're laughing.
Yeah,
It's
laugh.
something
Luke just said something funny.
I'm finding that hard to envisage.
I shared that post off your page, but I did see, I think there was a comment saying someone said it was the calmest they'd ever seen Narooma Bar.
Yeah.
And it was. It was unbelievable. And it does get like that from time to time, but not often.
Where did the name The Deep Drop come from, by the way?
It's just I just wanted to try and come up with a name that had some sort of fishing connotation and
just a bit of a pun.
Market research, Adrian.
Yeah.
They got a room full of people and wouldn't let them out until they came up with the name.
Yeah. New York City bailed them up in a big boardroom and said, right, people, start writing. Wind against tide. No, it's taken.
Yeah. But that's the best name.
Yeah. I actually have sat on that for probably a year or something because I was going to do something else with it. So I had all the logo files created by a designer and everything. And then it did nothing. I thought, ads, we need to use this for something. Can we do a podcast?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
do you like it?
Yeah.
I do.
Dave kind of wishes that was our name because he enjoys deep drop fishing so much.
Yeah.
No, I'm just quite impressed with the slick production values that Luke brings to the table.
Yeah, that was all Luke. He had it ready to roll.
Yeah, sorry, I shouldn't have just discounted that it was.
Oh
you,
no, I
but-
did nothing. All the secrets did nothing.
I love Adam's honesty. He's never shy to just let it tell it how it is. No, that's not true. You do more.
No, I didn't do anything for the logo. All the,
Oh, the logo.
all
yeah.
the music.
Yeah, what do you think of the music? Be honest.
Can you do the music for us? No, just like
No, I'm not doing it with my mouth.
It's like,
What do you want me to like?
Beatbox
Hang
it,
on, I'll
like-
just grab the band.
Yeah.
We're doing the theme song.
hum it out.
I thought they'd never ask.
So I remember.
Yeah.
Well, when I hear the music, I kind of feel like dropping some party pills and going to a rave.
Actually, you know what? It reminds me of that 90s cartoon series called Daria. That kind of music.
Does it?
Yeah, that kind of.
I can't say I'm
Never seen
familiar.
You don't know Daria?
No.
I know it. I've never seen it.
They're too old, Adrian.
I don't know
Yeah.
what it's about.
About a
Did you not grow
sarcast-
up in the 90s? You were 80s.
I was, yeah, 80s and early 90s. I was a kid. But
Okay.
sorry, I'm not
Yeah.
up with
Yeah.
pop culture apparently.
Mitch seems to have gained access to a computer and
Oh,
is now asking
God.
questions on the live feed.
He's
Alright.
relentless.
He wants to talk about the time that you guys ran out of fuel at Bem River Boat Ramp.
Oh,
and
no,
tried
I'm
to-
happy. I'm happy to tell that story because Mitch is the one that looks like a clown in that one, not me.
Yeah.
It was incredible. We made it from Bairnsdale to Bem on red somehow in Mitch's old clapped out. I think it was a VP Commodore. I think
Is that even a model?
Yeah, I think it's the
It was
92.
the first one ever made.
it
model
was.
something.
I don't know how we made it, but we did, and we managed to launch the boat. Got the boat off, and as we drove up the ramp, it ran out of fuel, and it was quiet. So we just left the car in the middle of the ramp and went fishing for the day. But then we got back and we got
Oh, hang on a minute. At what point do you think that was okay?
we got to go fishing. We didn't care.
We'll deal with that later.
Yeah, we'll
boys.
deal with it. Yeah, so we left it. We just left it.
Yeah.
Thereabouts. And you can't get fuel in Bem.
Hmm.
So Mark did us a solid, who runs the little corner store there, and he's got some accommodation and things, and he had a jerry can. And then the two of us had to try and work out how to siphon fuel out of it.
You just close your eyes and suck it out of a hose.
Yeah, and that's what Mitch tried. But the problem is he was getting nowhere fast.
Can you make that? Can you edit that as a bit of just a grab?
Yeah,
that
just,
you could use that in your promo.
He's not.
I'm not
he's
sure that's a good promotion.
Yeah.
but,
Hey,
we did it
hey,
for your
you're the-
podcast.
by the look
I'll
of
take
Dave's face, he took that out of context. I was being serious about the jerry can.
Were you, Adrian?
yeah.
We've all seen South Park, mate. We know what you're talking about.
So anyway, Mitch tried and nothing was happening. You know, he's just not that good at it, Adrian. You know, he tried though, 10 for effort.
Hmm.
So once we decided to give lifting the jerry can up off the ground a go, it worked. And I think more fuel went into Mitch's mouth than it did into the actual car. And he
Yeah.
spent the rest of the night, just every time he burped, he nearly spewed.
Oh.
Tried milk, everything, just everything to try and get the taste.
Oh.
He was in that much pain. It was fantastic.
Well, he's obviously ingested some of it by the sounds
Oh
of it.
no, it was a proper guzzle. It
mouthful.
didn't just
Oh.
yeah.
Yuck.
Oh, well,
Good
that's
on
the
him.
good old days. Back to our fishing report. So, Luke.
So Adam's been fishing.
Yeah, so stop
whiting.
bombarding the chat, Mitch. Give someone else a go. We're trying to
Yeah.
give a fishing report here.
Bloody hell, mate. We're trying to hold some structure here.
You've been snapper fishing, is that right?
Yeah.
Excuse
me?
We've
Was
all
that-
been snapper fishing.
We've got to hear about your fishing trip.
Oh,
you
I-
trying to divert or what?
No, I don't. You guys are the gun fishers. I'm coming here to learn a thing or two
Last
from
time
you
you
guys.
came on, you're talking about how you're mastering the piers in Geelong.
Oh, mate,
How's that going?
I own them.
You own them.
Yeah.
Because there was an old bloke that was giving you tips and tricks.
Yeah.
and
No, I
Have
what
you,
I was
have
saying
you
was I wasn't
outclassed him
mastering-
now?
Yeah. I actually pushed him off.
The
flick.
Cast it over his line?
I have enjoyed visiting some locals and seeing how they do it and just having a bit of fun with fishing. I haven't been trying to master it or steal their spots.
Not yet.
Yeah,
So you
it's
haven't
not what
worked,
I've
so you
heard.
haven't worked it out yet.
Yeah, exactly. No, I haven't. I mean, the weather hasn't been very complimentary, but I got out the other morning just in the kayak for some calamari because I love doing
How
that.
good is that?
Nothing better.
Oh,
Back to-
did
back
you
to
brain 'em?
nature.
Yeah.
Absolutely great.
No, we
How dare you ask such an insulting question?
Come on, mate. Do you know
Oh, I
you're
love
talking to- No, we got a few and big, and I love this time of year. There's all the big calamari that are about in that bottom part of the shallow areas of Port Phillip Bay are pretty exciting
They're incredibly exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and good for a feed. I love, like, you know, our family loves a bit of seafood, and there's nothing better than some fresh seafood.
And I think that's the angle that you come at it from, isn't it? Is it more less ego, which is surprising for you, but more for
Jesus.
supplying the family from bay to plate and the satisfaction.
Commonly known as kill and grill, Dave.
That's it. Whack and stack.
Fill it and release.
But as you know, for the last, I don't know, whatever it's been, 7 or 8 years, I've lived up in the hills. So being down now on the coast and a stone's throw from the water, having access to fresh seafood and going out and you know, harvesting your own, it's amazing. Like, it's a great lifestyle, and we appreciate it when we catch a few fish.
How good is it when you take that fresh fish home and feed the family and they love it?
Yeah.
Nothing better. Nothing better.
I think that's it. Because there's a few different angles in fishing, but to be able to do exactly like you said and provide and see everyone enjoying it, it's great. It's awesome. Great result.
You and I are really the quintessential common man, aren't we? Because I, in fact, went fishing off the land, no less, over the weekend.
How did you go with that? Because I don't see you as a land-based angler, Dave.
Well, I actually had a ball, to be honest.
That's
I
good.
Fished off the rocks. I caught my first land-based snapper, but it was the journey of getting there that was quite fun, because it was about a 4K hike along the beach. And you know what I thought? I thought, I've got this trolley I've got to go to the beach with my son, because you got to haul so much crap.
Yes.
I thought, I'm going to put all my stuff in here and outsmart nature and just tow this trolley along behind me.
Yeah.
But then I got to the beach and the tide was nearly high and the sand was very soft. And I was basically like hauling a dead weight through the sand for about 3K. And then I had my destination in sight. I was so close. And what greeted me was a mountainous range of boulders that there was no way my cart had the capability of scaling. So I had to unload my cart, carry the gear over the boulders, go back, get the cart. I did about 3 trips, and there was about 3 sections like this, and eventually got to the rocks. And then once I got to the rocks, the fishing was very slow. So about 10 draft boards, 10 Port Jacksons, not even exaggerating, and then finally
Did you
that
eat 'em?
sweet snapper.
Well
No, I
done.
did not.
That's good.
Yeah.
The land-based fishing in that area, is there a lot of, are we saying shitfish?
Yeah.
To get through before you.
He looks at Adam when he says that.
I'll
Adam,
say it.
Adam,
It's not my podcast, mate. You're asking the wrong person.
as the deep drop, are we allowed to say shit?
We're on the way here, and Adam's going, "Don't swear, whatever you do." No. Is
You
it
can
typically like that? You have to sift through a bit of that before you can.
Well, the reason I was keen to go there was because last year when I was snap fishing out of the boat, my mate kept sending me photos from this place and he was out fishing me. He was catching more snapper than I was.
Yeah.
And they're
I
big
thought-
too. They were 80 centimetre fish.
And you were filling your fuel up full of fuel that was
Like-
$104,000 a litre.
That's right. And
Yeah.
I thought, that little bastard, I'm going to, next year, I'm going to go there and I'm going to steal his spot. And no, this year has been quite slow so far. He reckons it hasn't really kicked into gear. He said when the snapper are properly on, there's no draft boards. He said it's like a very measurable thing where you catch a lot of draft boards, no snapper.
Yeah.
A few draft boards, 1 or 2 snapper. And then you catch no draft boards, lots of snapper.
Is that the same in the boat?
Well,
Generally?
Now-
we don't catch draft boards when we're snapper fishing
I think,
generally.
I think
because-
towards the entrance you do, especially
right.
around Buoy 12 and, towards the entrance, and same as the other entrance. You got
Yeah.
a lot of old maids there, but not particularly inside the port
yeah,
itself.
they don't venture that far up.
I've got a question on that, and this is a direct reference to the deep drop. If you don't mind, guys.
Never
We've
heard
done
of
No,
this.
we mind.
We've had this question on the show before, and this is a great segue into asking you this, Dave.
Mhm.
Do you think a land-based snapper, in your eyes and your heart,
Oh, it's a deep drop question,
is
here, Dave.
is
This
worth
it.
more than a snapper that you've caught from a boat? Taking into consideration your journey there, the scaling of the rocks, and the effort that you put in.
100%. And I think, say, 78 centimeter snapper, which is what mine was, would be probably the equivalent of about a 7 point. How big was your snapper the other day?
I think it was 7.5 something.
Yeah, so easy
easy.
7.6. Yeah.
Call it 20 pound.
Yeah. Well, I've got a photo up, Adrian, because people want to see the.
Have you got one up there?
Yeah. Oh, I knew that would happen.
Yeah. Dave's like,
Anyway,
Yeah,
got a-
Adrian forgot which button to put it.
No, we've got a faulty HDMI port.
Yeah, it's just.
But
on
believe
Dave's
us, people, it
computer.
was at least 23
Here we go.
kilos this snapper.
Yeah.
No.
Oh dear.
Anyway.
Oh, man.
So is that the one you caught? I can
Oh,
see.
go.
Go,
Here we
go,
go.
go.
Here we go.
Come on.
No.
No.
There
Oh,
you
it
go.
is.
Oh, hello.
So you got your
look
mate
different.
to take it.
Now I'll tell you what happened. This is my friend.
It was a tough trick to
Now this is funny because the deep drop guys
is
say,
another question.
Yeah, that's
is
it,
it
exactly.
acceptable to hold someone else's fish?
Yeah.
And Dave's going to explain what's happened here, right?
Okay,
Good.
this is
Okay,
not. Hey,
okay.
I'm all ears.
I have many photos of my fish with other people holding them. Why? Because people are terrible at taking photos. So, for example, the other night, it was nighttime. Tricky time to be taking photos,
Yep.
especially with an iPhone. They're pretty crap in low light. And it's also, you got to work the angles a little bit, as you know.
Okay. I'm learning.
Yep.
Yeah,
So the photos that my friend Suraj and his other mate took were just not great. So I said, "Here, you hold the fish. I'll show you how to do it properly." And that's how we end up with that photo of another man holding my fish.
Can I say, I think this actually, because you're right, Adrian, that was a question on our podcast recently. But this actually shows what sort of angler Dave is, because Dave wasn't concerned about being in the photo. He wanted a photo of the fish.
Mm.
So do you
There's-
reckon
there's-
he should have blurred his mate's face?
No.
out?
At least he didn't have to put lightning bolts in the background because
Yeah.
it was already done.
Yeah.
And
But-
3 months later.
3 months. Yeah. But the beauty of that, because I think there's two very different types of people, and some of them like to be the front and center of the photo, and the fish is just down here.
Yeah.
And
I'm going
others,
to add to that bloke there, Siraj, he loves being that guy front and center.
but I think credit to you, Dave. You just wanted to capture the fish, which was more important than the angler.
But the question
Yeah.
is it still a legal photo?
Yeah.
Well, it's not illegal. He didn't get arrested.
Not yet.
I love it.
They're saying as a bloke's rule, basically.
No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and even without the whole photo side of it, like all the big fish that I've been a part of, like big tuna and that, like if someone else is on the rod, I don't get a photo with it because that's their thing. Would you agree with that?
Hang on, say again. So
No,
you're
Dave's the skipper.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Someone
Yeah.
else wants the tuna in.
Yeah.
Dave doesn't take a photo.
No,
of it.
no.
no.
No. But
I
you
agree with
do
that.
see a lot of charter
You
operators.
see charter operators
You do.
taking photos of people's
Adam
fish.
loves
Yeah.
it.
No, you do. I think that's again, you're proving yourself to be not, too selfish.
Just
Because Adrian, what he says about you, is like,
yeah. I know.
Hey, you know what they say about good friends? You can take the piss out in front of them,
Mm.
but you say nice things behind their back.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it is?
Anyway, just finishing on my little land-based fishing.
Please, sorry.
Whilst I was walking along the beach and I got too tired to keep walking, I thought, stuff this, there's weed beds there, I'm going to cast. So every time I got really tired, I'd stop and cast, and I was catching squid off the beach.
How good's that?
So I don't
How
even
good
need
is
a kayak.
sand squid?
Sand
Squid.
When I saw your photo, I thought the same thing. And was there any sort of waves at all, like any, or is it pretty still?
No, a little bit of surge.
Yeah,
Because it's quite a steep beach there.
I've done a bit recently in like I suppose you call it the Lonsdale Bight near Queenscliff there, and there's sometimes waves coming in, and it feels so wrong. Like it just doesn't feel naturally how you should be squid fishing. The satisfaction of catching a squid off the sand is magnificent.
Oh,
Well, you know
yeah.
what? Western Port, there's a few places you can do that too.
Is it?
Yeah,
And we don't do
absolutely.
enough of it,
No.
really. Yeah. And the other good thing about this spot, huge whiting,
Oh yeah,
massive whiting. Like I got down
ocean
there.
whiting.
Yeah, I went down and I met my mates there, and I put my gear down. I'm like, holy crap, why is there a giant whiting right there? And they're like, oh, that's where that went. They put
How many are they catching?
If you're
Well,
losing whiting,
They'd had 4 bottles of red at this stage. But they'd put the whiting in these rock pools, and then the tide came in. And they were like, oh, God, our whiting have swum away. But this one idiot whiting swam further up and got stuck under a rock.
well, it was on its spawn run.
Yeah.
It was like one of
Was it-
those salmon.
It was a sea runner.
Yeah. So, that was a bit of an odd thing to say, but 45 centimeter whiting. I was like, oof, there you go.
Jeez.
Did you cut it up for bait?
I
Catch some swell sharks?
You know what?
It was actually a yakka.
Yeah, that's right.
They only had one left, and I was trying to sneak it back into the ocean because I felt bad for it. There's no point having one whiting. But my mate that caught it, he grabbed it, and we know what happened after that.
Yeah.
He wanted to eat it, but I felt quite bad for
Why
it.
A couple
can't
of
he- why
whiting
can't-
tacos on the rocks there.
Why can't he have one whiting?
Because I just feel like he's not really
What?
going to make, unless he is going to have a nice meal and enjoy it.
Oh,
I
so
feel like
this guy goes, one's not enough. You need at
Yeah.
least 2 or 3 to take home.
only because I want the fish to be used in a befitting manner. I think if someone takes one whiting home, it's very easy for them to go, oh, it's one whiting. Can't be
But
bothered.
how do you
fair
get
enough.
to that
That's a fair
stage?
call.
What
That's
if
a
you
fair
go,
call.
I'm going to keep 3? Where do you start with, I'm keeping this first one?
Yeah, that's a tough
Well,
call.
True. It is. Yeah, it is.
If-
It's tough.
But the fish was alive at the end of the night, so he still had that
Oh,
option.
okay, there
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
It was in a little rock pool thing.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if you're in your boat, would you keep him in the live well until you've got
Absolutely.
enough?
Squid, whiting.
Oh, no, because I always bag out.
One's not a
But
possibility.
Squid doesn't come into that. If you get one, it's still coming home.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
going in the freezer for
Yeah.
bait straight away.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
way or another, they're getting used. That's for
Well,
sure.
it's actually funny because if you actually prepare one little squid, that will feed the whole family.
Yeah.
But if you use all the wings and the legs and the bit that connects the gut to the head, that bit's bloody delicious.
What's that bit called?
Sorry, what?
It's like a little fork bit, and it's the most tender bit you'll ever eat.
How do you get that out? But as in, in
Yeah.
all honesty,
You got to eat the guts
Well,
until you get to it.
like,
Yeah,
as in
you normally rip the guts out,
Yeah.
and the guts are holding the head in place.
Yeah.
There's a fork that holds it, and
in between the head and the
it kind of
guts.
looks like this.
Yeah,
And that
Wow.
bit is one of the most delicious bits you'll ever eat.
I've
on a
never
squid.
tried. I've
No,
never
no
known
way.
that.
So I took
That's amazing.
a fishmonger mate of mine who I do a lot of work for out squid fishing about 2 months ago, and we're cleaning him at the ramp. He goes, "Oh, don't throw that away.
Yeah.
Trust me, try this at home. You'll never look back."
Wow.
And I've kept it ever since.
Okay, I'm going to
Interesting.
give that a go for sure.
Hmm.
I'll end up eating the squids, the
Yeah,
ink
the,
sac
the,
or
the,
something.
yeah, that's like the stomach.
Yeah.
Well, we've also answered another valuable question.
Oh yeah.
I think I'm starting to believe that land-based fishing is actually good.
Well, I mean
It
that was a question that was posed as well. Is land-based fishing even good? I'm inspired. I want
Well,
to know that spot because
if
I want to
you
go there.
get a
What's your
lift
middle
there-
numbers?
Yeah, well, I can't tell you that. Mate. But we've already said it's near an entrance. Isn't that enough information for
Lakes entrance.
everyone? Yeah. It's near an entrance in Victoria.
You've been hanging around Chapman too long.
Yeah, go there in a few months. No, that's good, but it is land-based fishing is good. It's
Or
Satisfying.
sand squid. I
Sand
didn't,
squid,
know, I didn't
mate.
know they were a thing until
yeah,
tonight.
it's a different species, sand squid.
Well, it's more
Cheap.
remarkable to catch a sand squid
Yeah.
than one off a boat. So
Yes, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, like when I actually caught it, I was like, "Oh, you're
You know what?
joking."
Dave sent that video and photo to me. I go, "Oh man, nothing better than a tropical beach squid."
Yeah. Adrian got very mad. He was on a work site getting
Yeah.
rained on or something.
Yeah, I was on the roof. I'm like, this couldn't be any worse. And Dave's sending these pictures of beach
It
squid.
just got worse.
But you didn't know I was in hell trying to pull my trolley.
No,
Oh, mate.
actually, when you sent that thing, I said, "You know what? I would have gone the hiking bag, Dave."
Mm,
Yeah,
you live and you learn. First
Um,
attempt.
I just wanted to say something, Adrian.
Oh,
Your video that you released, or Win Against Tide video
yeah.
that you featured in, I really enjoyed it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's
Thanks a
good
lot.
quality. Obviously, good camera gear,
Yeah.
and you present well. I just thought we're in a good space at the moment, guys.
Thanks.
Feel the vibe?
I agree. I told him it was very good,
Oh, thanks,
especially
guys.
because the one before that I put up and I thought it was crap. Like legit, I was like, that was pretty crap.
Well, who was in that one?
Me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
but
I liked it
Adrian's one really
because
good.
it was also, and this is just, I'm a sucker for like YouTube and can
Yeah.
very easily get turned off or bored.
Yeah.
But it was constant enough. Like there was plenty going on, and it was you got the squid at the start, but that didn't drag out for 18,000 hours.
You know
It-
what? I caught a lot more than those two I showed.
Yeah.
But okay, no, that's enough. Like you don't
Yeah.
need to see anymore.
No,
Because the purpose when I made that video, I had an idea. I said, I'm going to take you for a ride in my 420.
Yeah.
And try to take you on the adventure. And that's what I tried to
but you
show
set,
in the video.
you did, and you set the scene at the start because you told people what was happening, and we all know that fishing doesn't work that way. Like you
That's
say
right.
something at the start of the day, and rarely does it go well, except for you two because you're pros. But and it was I think it was great. I just wanted to say
Oh,
that.
great.
Well
Thanks.
done. Yeah.
Do you know how many intros I've got sitting there where I've gone, I'm going to
Yeah.
do this, like this is happening, and then they just go nowhere. There's
Yeah.
a lot of them.
But
I
the,
bet.
the best thing about editing footage is you can record that after you caught the fish.
What do you mean?
Like
Oh,
your
the
intro.
intro,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
100%.
Oh,
yeah.
is that what's happened?
No,
Yeah.
well, obviously not
Hey,
because
here
I
we
was on
go.
the squid grounds talking about it. So
Yeah. Well, why don't you tell us about that trip for
Yeah.
everyone that hasn't seen the video? We
Well-
were doing a rundown of our recent fishing.
It was actually funny because I was here at the factory and I just got back from a job site. I'm like, I should really unbox some boxes and get them ready for another job. And I looked at the weather forecast and it was absolutely mint. And as you know, Hastings Boat Ramp is about 10 minutes from here. And it was about 1 o'clock. And okay, you know what? I'm going for it. The cameras are charged. And I just made the tide change. I'm like, I need to get a quick couple of squid because nothing better for snapper than fresh squid. I don't know why it seemed to outperform frozen squid. Maybe it's just the extra scent on it, but I said, I'm going to get some fresh squid, film it all, take you for a ride on the 420, and literally got to the one of the snapper marks where the tide just started trickling, anchored up, cutting up bait, first rack of rods, 3-way.
Oh, wow.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Couldn't have got it any better. And they're all fish between like 4 and 7 kilo.
Yeah. You know what I loved as well was the close up you had of the rod in the rod holder, and it just starts and then just goes nuts, and the sound was great. It just, I don't know, it takes you there. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's the effort you got to put into it to come up with a good production.
And Dave and Brendan tried to follow that report that afternoon on that same tide. And
I didn't
they got
follow it. I was doing
Just loosely.
Did not.
Ended up in.
I was doing a guide. I was already out there.
And I had said, no, I'm done. I've caught 9, lost 3 because I couldn't physically pick up the rod and strike the fish. And I said, Dave, I'm going. And just as I went, the fish shut down. The weather went wind against tide, and
Good podcast.
very good.
You didn't do
podcast.
any deck dropping, did you?
Might be the anchor that he dragged through as he was going.
And then the giant clumps of the Western Port weed started tangling on all the rods, and he goes, "That's hell. I just saw you have the best session ever, and now it's just turned to the worst Western Port session you ever have."
Can I ask you something on that? You mentioned that squid is the best bait in that situation for whatever reason. The other thing you showed in that video, and this might sound like a simple question, but I guarantee you that there's people out there that are not taking enough care in this. Your bait presentation that you showed and talked through as well was a
It was just a
piece
ring.
of art. Yeah, no, but
yeah.
it was. But you'd obviously taken the time and delicately made it exactly how it needed to be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because with Western Port, it's a little bit different to Port Phillip. You actually need to have your baits straight and aerodynamic.
Yeah.
Because the moment they're slightly off center, they'll just go like this in the water.
But it wasn't just a ring. You had a little bit of a special
a little cock tickler, we call it, don't we, Dave?
I'm just waiting for you to give me credit for inventing that bait.
Yeah. Well, I was getting to that.
Mm.
That's why I said a little cock tickler. Dave.
That is my little contribution to the fishing world.
Yeah. When I first started
Talk us through it.
when I first started snapping fishing with Dave in about 2015.
When does
or
the video on that come out?
I actually call it a lice anode, by the way, because the lice attack the dangly thing first and your squid ring gets left alone.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, we should have asked him about it.
Did we just get a Wind Against Tide OnlyFans channel?
Well, we're getting the casting couch soon, so stay tuned.
Very good. No, well done. Good.
We just had a question from Rodney. He wants to know who's wind and who's tide.
Well, we've had this discussion between us before, and I said, whatever's greater at the time, I am that.
You did blow a lot of hot wind. That's for sure. So, so you had a great session anyway, Adrian.
No, it was great. And that was over a week ago. I actually haven't fished since that Tuesday. So
yeah, well,
been,
I mean,
busy with work. And, when you have such a great session, you don't really want to spoil
by going ever again.
Exit on top.
Yeah.
And you know what? To get a trip like that, I've probably done about 20 trips this season since September.
Yep.
And I've had one.
That's not what it looked like on YouTube.
No.
You're telling me you don't just go and smash them every time.
No, well, we actually haven't had too many fishless trips this year. Maybe I've had 1 or 2 out of the 20 where I haven't caught a snapper.
Jeez, you go all right.
But
that was a selfless promotion.
I know. I was
no. I'm getting to the fact, like last year, it was basically a write-off.
Really?
Yeah, struggled on the snapper.
Okay.
I don't know what it was, but this year there's a lot more fish feeding, and it's just been a better season.
Can I make a slight addition to that squid bait thing?
Yeah.
You know how we always use squid, and every time we put fish baits out, we're talking Western Port here, we get attacked by rays.
Oh yeah, don't put a fish bait in Western
On
Port.
Sunday, I went out and we caught a salmon.
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, it's fresh salmon. I'm going to use it, even though a stingray's going to eat it straight away. But once in my life, no stingrays on that. Only thing the snapper would eat was the salmon. So it goes to show you do need to have that bit of variety there. Even though, most trips it may seem like you only need squid. Sometimes the salmon's just what makes your day from being crap to being a bloody ripper.
Fresh would be the key, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, fresh.
Yeah,
Maybe
fresh gets the eagle rays going good. Tell you what.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's why, because I don't normally have the really fresh stuff.
And definitely trying fresh stuff in. We've probably caught a handful of snapper on fish baits.
Really? So it's a squid.
I don't know
exclusively?
why.
Yeah.
You do still catch a lot of eagle rays on squid, but
Yeah.
it just tends to be the one you have in the spread is always a fish bait that gets attacked.
So there's no way to get away from them in Western Port, is there?
No, you
Eagles.
just have to filter through them.
Yeah.
Well,
Some days
apparently, if you use a paternoster style rig, it kind of keeps it off the bottom and you get less circle fish. But don't you reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Was I making a face at you?
Yeah.
You were
did
making a
some
face
weird-
at everybody, actually.
Yeah.
No, I was very distracted. I was getting ready for my next segment.
Well, I mean, that looks.
No, okay. So thanks, Luke.
Yeah.
I
Over to you,
just
Dave.
I just thought I'd throw this in here. We're doing another run of merch, Adrian. I don't know if you guys have any merch, but we do.
Oh,
And we were just getting some interest drummed up for this new design. We're running on some hoodies and t-shirts.
Take a photo of that, Luke. That's
no,
good.
actually,
I'll-
I'll just
I'll send
quickly.
you the PDF.
My merch.
Instead of win versus title, say deep.
Well, I
drop.
haven't seen what you're talking about right now, but we've got this picture of this ship, and it's sort of in this rough weather. Oh, sorry. Oh,
But no, what I was going to say,
Beautiful,
if anyone is interested in that and wants to get themselves a nice little Chrissy present, just shoot us a message, and we're going to do another order shortly. We're probably going to cut off orders in about a week, aren't we? So we
I
can
think so. Yeah.
get in time for Christmas.
Love it.
And,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're up to 300 so far. Nah.
Whew.
Look at Luke.
Well, no, well, I'm not. I wouldn't be that surprised because I did hear that the boat show's hottest seller was the Wind Against Tide.
Absolutely was. We're
Hoodie.
the only one selling merch.
Well, that's why.
Yeah.
Everyone was cold and they needed a hoodie.
Need a hoodie.
Well, it's funny because there's a guy that was parched by the sun and goes, I need a t-shirt, boys. Didn't he?
I go, are you just really sunburned? He goes, yeah. I go, in that case, it's $100.
Yeah.
But they're already proving to be kind of fish magnets. I mean, we had a guy catching I never thought this would happen. Catching barra in a Wind Against Tide hoodie.
Yeah, he actually tagged us in on the weekend on his post on Instagram.
Nice.
And he caught a 99 centimeter barra.
Yeah, I've
check
thrown
this out.
thrown a photo up there, and that's actually. I should have told you to hit the audio, Adrian, because I think that's catch of the week. The King Kong Donkey Kong.
King Kong, Donkey Kong.
That's not bad. Where's that from? Where's the barra from?
Is from Lake
He was
Tinaroo.
Lake
fishing,
Tinaroo, of
fishing
course
the
it is.
Tinaroo tournament.
That's Bryce Abbott. He's in an ABT tournament, and he's must have been quite cool there to be wearing a hoodie, or he just really wanted to wear some Wind Against Tide apparel. But
I've never been to Lake Tinaroo, but let me tell you something.
Oh, we want to hear it.
We need to go to Lake Tinaroo.
Yeah.
Really?
We've got a thing that just quickly that we have this club that within the Complete Angler stores. They have a club called a Meter Long Club. We've got a guy.
Oh, George is already there.
We've got a guy. No, this is for
he's
customers.
he's a meter high.
Yeah. Customers to send in their fish on their fish mats and all.
Yeah.
We've got one guy from Lake Tinaroo who's sent in 120 meter long fish over the last couple of 2.5 years.
wow.
Far out.
120 meter fish.
So these have to be
Yeah.
barra, by
One
the way.
fish. It's 120 meters long.
Yeah.
Barra, yeah.
Yeah.
In the club, now there's barra, kingfish, flathead, Murray cod, snapper, and mulloway.
Okay, I was going to say you would have been at a disadvantage if that was the case, being a Victorian. Would have been a bit hard for you.
Yeah, let's be honest. The majority of the fish that come in are cod and barra,
Right.
and the odd mulloway from all over the joint. Includes black jewfish.
What about that Lake Proserpine? Is that the one where I see all the
That's
videos?
the
and
stocked one, yeah, where they literally twitch a
Yeah.
soft plastic across their surface about 300 mil from their prop. And,
Aren't
and
they-
they're just going like this with their rod and it just goes.
Mm. Those
That's
impoundments, and I know nothing about them as far as I've never been there and fished them, but they seem like fascinating places. As in, I don't think they're that easy. Like I think you see things like that all, but from what I hear, some of the impoundments with stock big barra and that can be really tricky. You've done some of them, haven't you?
No, I've never fished the impoundments, but
Hazelwood?
watched a heap of stuff.
Yeah.
Hazelwood. Do you know I never fished Hazelwood?
I never went there either,
Nah.
actually.
apparently there's still barra in there.
Oh, let's do
And
it.
I know it's bone dry, but
Hey,
apparently there's a big
2 meter long club.
Yeah.
Surely they wouldn't have survived this long, would they?
Well, your mate
know.
Mitch says that
I was
there
gonna
is,
say,
but he
Mitch,
says not to
let us
tell
know.
anyone. Oops, sorry. And on this week's episode of the Deep Drop, we're discussing whether impoundment fish are worth as much as wild caught fish.
Yeah,
that's not
Everyone's
bad.
Hey, it's actually that's not a bad
How do you
question.
spell wild?
WYLD.
Yeah.
Mm.
Wild child.
Yeah, no, it sounds like those. Oh, we're not doing my question. Well, you guys are actually just
Oh,
saying.
we're
it,
doing
but-
that.
Oh, I thought that was a
Yeah.
joke.
It was a bit of a joke. We don't have to discuss it, but yeah, no, I think it is another interesting discussion topic. You guys save it for your show, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's so many topics. And can I just say to the Wind Against Tide listeners, if you do happen to venture over to the Deep Drop Instagram page, for example, and podcast, listen to it and subscribe. We love getting questions from people. It's like a lot of our questions that we bring up are just from all sorts of different people, and that's great. So I find that really interesting. And we do get special guests reading the questions sometimes, don't we, David
You
and
do.
Adrian? Your episode's
Who
not out
did,
yet.
who did a better job out of the two of us?
That's going to be a question the week after
that'll
Adrian's
be the
comes out.
question.
Yeah.
Well, you've heard.
Yeah.
I heard Adrian's. I thought it was a bit stilted, fake, disingenuous.
You got the radio voice on, did you, Adrian? I haven't heard it.
Yeah,
So
whose voice was that, by the way? It was like
I used Siri. I just wrote a note and go, send this to Luke, would you? What's his
loved it.
email?
They were both fantastic. Well done.
Are you guys up with the latest in motor tech? Because today's been quite a significant day.
I saw some. I'm not up with motor
The
tech
Dodge
straight off the bat,
Viper
but
is out. The SRT V10.
it looks.
I was talking about Joe's 40 horsepower
Oh.
tilt. No.
All I saw was a photo, and I just thought that's got to be
so
expensive.
what's come out? I've got no idea what you're
So
talking about.
Mercury, you know how they bought out their wank factor V12 thing?
Yeah,
Which no one
the wank
bought.
factor.
Yeah.
Nobody
Did
bought
anyone?
it.
No. Well, have you ever seen someone with a V12 in Australia?
What a horrible advertisement.
Yeah.
No, apparently one boat has 3 of them on it.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go. Well,
Yeah.
they had to scale down to, appeal to the general boaters. They're going for a V10, 350 and 400 horsepower motor.
It's
Just
gonna
to
be right, quick.
jump in, that's not appealing to general boaters.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's quite a lot of Portland tuna fishermen
Well,
that'll want that though.
for
Slightly
sure.
more appealing than a
Yeah.
V12
Yeah.
and it's about 2 meters high.
So that launched today.
Yeah, so it's 5.7 liters V10 as Adrian said, and it's that gap in the market that I don't think there's too many.
Well, you had the
engines
450 racing Merc, but that was only a V8, wasn't it?
and for racing.
Yeah.
These ones are for general.
General boaters.
Just, these are for just going a little bit slower.
yeah,
you know?
yeah, a little bit of a step back from the racing.
Well, I think
tournaments.
it's the gearboxes are different and all
Right.
that.
So what happened with the V12? Was it just
No,
too
well,
expensive, or did people
think
not get
it's-
around it? Or
Don't listen to Adrian. I
No,
think
I kind of made that up.
I think it's gone quite well. Apparently,
No, well, what I say, like trailer boaters, you're not going to see that on a trailer boat. One of these
Yeah.
V10s, perhaps you're going to see this.
What
Yeah, okay.
size? This is still a big outboard motor. What size boat would this be commonly?
Well, I reckon
Put
you're
on
going to see it on your
420
bass-
Renegade?
Yeah,
420 Renegade.
Absolutely. No,
You
I reckon
would.
you're going to see it on your Eden Crafts, your Bass Straits,
Okay.
your Cuda Crafts, and because apparently Cuda Craft are building a boat to hold the V12 on it. I haven't seen anything about it yet, but I heard whispers. So
yeah. Well, people
be-
just seem to have an insatiable thirst for going faster than the other
Absolutely.
person.
Yeah.
So I
especially
think-
Cuda Craft.
well, I think generally those sort of 6 to 7 meter plus offshore performance boats, guys just seem to want to do 100k an hour. So probably a good option for any of those guys, and they do seem to have a lot of money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Just making a massive
How much would
generalization.
one of those V10s cost, do you reckon?
V10s.
Because I remember the V12s were about, I don't know, 120k installed.
Jesus. So
Something
what?
like
So
that.
I am curious on this. What do you reckon that would cost? This new one?
Oh, I don't think.
Australia.
We're looking at you, Dave. You're one of the
Yeah, yeah.
Mercury.
You've already bought one.
Yeah, I
You've
don't
already
know.
ordered one.
I only found out. I wake up this morning. There was a message from Dave, me, and from Mercury.
Yeah.
Saying, "Look at this," and I was like, "Thanks, Dave. Can't wait to give one away on the show."
I know.
Yeah.
all I said, respond to him was, "Oh, how heavy will it fit the 420?"
Yeah, that's right. And apparently they're very light. But yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, boys. I just would not have
Okay.
a clue. But I don't. I'm going to put a wild guess out there and think it's got to be upwards of $60,000, doesn't it? Something like that.
You'd think
You'd
so.
think so.
Yeah.
You reckon it'd have all
It's-
that electronic steering and stuff? Or We don't know.
It'll have everything. A little bit of a step
It's
away from.
incredible the tech
Oh,
these
it's
days.
insane.
It's really. I mean, you guys obviously are at the boat show, and anyone who was there as well. Just it's mind blowing.
But you don't need that to catch squid off the beach, Adrian.
No,
That's
absolutely not.
The takeaway.
Unless you want to
from
put that in
tonight.
your trolley cart
think-
that you're struggling to push it along
I
the
think what you
beach.
do with those motors is you back up into the shallows and just rev it, and just squid just flick out of the
Yeah,
water.
that's right.
Yeah.
Throw them up on
Yeah.
the beach.
You
Yeah,
reckon you
and-
just rooster tail them onto
Yeah,
the
exactly.
beach?
Yeah. Someone Dave's on the beach with his pull trolley, just landing him in there.
That's
Easy.
exactly right. That's exactly how they work. Yeah, it's a sound investment for that sort of thing. Yeah. So every week, Luke, I don't know if you know this, we get special guest weather presenter that comes
Oh.
on the show, and it's not Jane Button.
Yeah, well, this is the normal theme that we play.
I don't know if you
Wow.
guys have had the pleasure of meeting Joe Fernandez. He comes in nearly every week, and he's our co-host, and he likes to do a really generalized weather forecast for the upcoming
okay.
days.
It's terrible.
Okay.
He is still somewhere between Mauritius and here off the back of a wonderful liveaboard fishing trip he's just done. I was going to share some photos of that, but
We'll wait
we're
till he
going to wait
comes
till he
in,
comes
yeah.
in. We're going to capture
Fair
his
enough.
raw excitement without ruining it for him. But I will do his weather forecast for him for the week, Adrian,
Yeah.
if you want to throw over
Is
to
it
my
crap?
computer.
Let's hear it.
Here we go.
Oh, it looks crap on Monday.
there's brown.
All righty.
Brown's
All right.
brown.
Now,
That's the Mornington Pier death wind.
Oh,
Look at that.
As is
Yeah.
tradition, we're looking at one of the most inaccurate forecasting sites you can get, and we're going to run through it. So, yes, throughout this evening, it's quite a strong southwesterly wind up to 20 knots. And what's going on, Adrian?
No, nothing.
This is the best segment ever.
Yeah.
We're enjoying my forecast. Okay, I get it. That's all right. As long as you're laughing with me and not at me. And then Thursday evening, for all those that are looking for their little glimpse of fishing for the week, this is when you need to go.
There's
Ooh,
a small window. Look at
very
that.
small window.
Rev your V10 engines.
Especially that
Take Friday morning off.
Sunday midnight. You're down
Oh.
launching, aren't you?
Adrian's going to
Jeez.
be floating around out there in his little tinny with his umbrella up in case it's raining, because I think it might be raining, by the way.
Yeah.
And we've got the dead south to swinging to southeasterly of nice calm weather window from Thursday through till Friday afternoon. So I'm not even going to go through the rest of it after that
No,
because it
it's not.
turns to absolute poop.
Hurricane Hernandez.
But on behalf of Wind Against Tide and the Deep Drop, bosses out there, give your staff Friday morning off.
Exactly.
RDO.
Don't be surprised if there's a few sickies on Friday, everyone.
Yep.
Are you going to get out there,
Good
Adrian?
one.
Oh, you know what? Maybe. I might give myself an RDO.
Why wouldn't
If
you?
it's the only fishable day,
It looks that way.
Mm.
If you see brown, oof.
Yes.
put it down.
yeah.
Put the rods down.
Yeah. Put everything down.
Brown's good for your beach squidding though. If you get it behind you, you can spool yourself with the cast. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
just a,
Spilled myself.
spooled myself. Just a little tip for everyone there. Yeah. So I've got a few more segments of our usual segments
Yeah.
that I think we might save for next week, Adrian, because
Oh,
we've
yeah,
been
that's
running
fine.
for some time. But there's just a couple of questions here in the live chat, actually.
Yeah, what
And
do you
there
got
was
on the live chat?
There's one for Luke. He wants this
Oh,
is a bit of a
dear.
deep question
Okay.
from Simon Webster, who's one of our favourite guests, and he
Right.
has said, "Which industry or identity has inspired you the most in your career?"
Wow. That is a serious one. I was just waiting to be stitched up. like,
No,
or am I being stitched up? Is this someone? By that, I guess you're meaning like a media identity. I'm assuming.
Oh, well, anyone.
Inspired- I don't.
Well, we're not asking the questions. The winner gets tigers are.
I worked.
fishing industry identity.
We mentioned earlier that
He's probably, yeah.
I worked for
Albie
years
Mangles.
with Adam for Paul Worsling, who has inspired me on various levels. So, as far as a business level goes, fishing. It's a great question. There's a lot of
There's a
them.
lot, yeah.
And we speak about this all the time, Ads, don't we? And if we just do a quick rundown of just people who I love to watch, whether it be, apart from you guys, obviously, are number one.
Thanks.
Like our local guys like Lee, Rayner and Paul, and there's a whole stack of them. I love watching Matt Watson in New Zealand. Adson, you and I
Yes.
talk about Matt all the
Yeah.
time.
He's good, isn't he?
The
Yeah.
ITM fishing guy.
Yeah. And for a laugh and a bit of entertainment, can't go past Andrew Hart on Hook, Line and Sinker.
Do you pay you to say that, or
Yeah. It's Andrew Hart. It's $50 every time I say it, Andrew Hart. That's 150. But yeah, there's lots. It's a fair question. It's hard to answer. And I think I've been also fortunate, and you're a bit the same. We've been fortunate enough. We've been in all various aspects of our industry, whether it be in that retail space or the tackle industry, but also the media and also the fisheries sort of space as well.
That's
So
right.
there's a lot of avenues to that. Yeah.
good
So,
answer.
Thank you.
I think.
For that question.
Yeah, no, that's all right. I did forget one report, Adrian, that I really do need to share.
Yeah.
And it is Dave Jurisic sent in during the week. Hopefully my HDMI is working.
That
There.
is
Yes,
a-
it is. So he went
Was that a
to
glassy?
Lake Purrumbete, and that is a beautiful Chinook salmon he caught, as well as they got 8 tiger salmon.
When they get
tiger
when they
trout.
get
Tank.
trout.
when they get put into that lake, how big are they going in? Because that is a big fish.
Yeah, they're only going in
Fingerlings?
quite small.
Or
Yeah,
bigger?
fingerling to.
Bit bigger.
A
know.
yearling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
That's-
They do grow really quick though.
They don't put like ex brood stock like the
No, I don't think they
That,
do it
that
in
looks
those
like
lakes.
it's grown up that
Yeah,
big.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it looks healthy.
It actually like its tail's not all worn
Yeah.
off, and
And half its cheek isn't ripped off.
you know those ones that Mitch was stealing from the kids, and they just look like they were kind of begging for their life.
Hey,
to be
can
over.
I ask a question to Win Against Tide? This is the last deep drop question that I want to throw at you guys, because I think your listeners and viewers might give you guys some feedback as well, because I find it a fascinating question. This week on the deep drop, for another $50, we had Andrew Hart on the show, and one of the questions he brought up was,
We get it, you know, Andrew. Hart.
yeah, one of the questions he brought up was, are kingfish really dirty fighters? So are they actually
It depends.
dirty,
It depends
or are they
how,
just strong?
I guess how strong your drag is at the time. Because if they're going down and you got a lot of drag and your line hits that rock, it's going to snap, obviously.
But I guess it's more around, do they do you on those rocks on purpose?
I think they have a built-in reaction when they feel a lot of resistance. They go for cover.
We've actually tried this.
Yeah,
we've
because
tested
on
this.
diet, is it actually a thing? If you back the
Yes.
drag off and fish light on them, will they behave more than what you would if you just
So-
lock them up?
Absolutely.
This is the
Really?
world's
Yeah.
this is the world's best kept secret, I
We're-
think,
we're-
is that
we're-
you
yeah.
can actually, and this is surprising for some people, that you can just outsmart them and go very light on them, and they will not pull back as hard as if you go full drag, in which case,
Yeah.
full drag, you cannot
Okay,
stop a lot.
full drag, you can stop them, but you hurt your wrist. I remember on a Talica 25 or something, I had it 17 kilos and just hanging on.
Yeah.
Oh, that
And,
doesn't sound
and
fun.
then Dave went like barely any drag, and the thing just swam to the boat. So
like,
Yeah.
like barely enough to lift the fish.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
But-
it's
but-
it's legit. It actually works.
Yeah. But then that's a follow-up question. Is that even fun?
Yeah.
Like,
Which one? Because
Like-
either, like, you could argue that going real heavy on them and locking up your drag isn't all that fun. But
well, it kind of, I guess it is, because it's
Yeah.
man versus beast.
hmm,
And it kind of, I don't know, does
Yeah.
it lessen the mystique around kingfish that you can just actually land them all?
Yeah.
You just go like
because I think
drag?
we sort of ended up coming to a bit of a conclusion that there's sort of the fish. There's a lot of fish that are labelled with this dirty, and they just try and brush it off and that. But I mean, do
But
they though?
Yeah, Andrew was adamant that they're not.
No.
They're nowhere near as dirty as the
Mm.
reputation
Yeah.
that they have.
Yeah.
Well, perhaps he's using that light line technique.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
he might be.
Anyway, I'll just maybe you'll get some feedback.
Or
and-
maybe he's not catching big enough kings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah.
Actually, just one more question on the live feed there. Speaking of other YouTubers, this fella's Red Ink music group, he just sent in. He wants to know who has watched the lateral line.
Yes.
You know, the
Yes.
guys from Big Angry
I
Fish.
love his hats.
Milan and someone. Yeah.
Milan and
And the
Nathan.
bald dude.
Nathan.
Yeah.
That's it.
Awesome
I like it.
Nathan's basically the cameraman.
It's filmed entirely on a phone.
Yeah,
Apart
Yeah.
from the
iPhone.
drone.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool. That's a
Yeah.
pretty cool
They've
concept.
got a lot of
Look, they catch kingfish and snapper.
Yeah.
that's the thing. And I think some of those New Zealand anglers will be the first to admit that they're lacking a few species over there. Like, don't get me wrong, it's an amazing fishery. Like, I'd take it in a heartbeat. But yeah, it is great. In answer to that, yeah, absolutely. I love it. I think it's really cool.
But I think that's what they've done because they were on free to air and everyone's like, stop catching the same 2 fish over and over again.
Yeah.
So I think they've gone on YouTube to cover more of that, the whole journey thing where
Stop fishing the same spot.
they camp on the. You can't talk, mate. You only go to 3 different spots.
Hey, it's more than that.
Sorry to out.
4. Great show. Worth checking out. Have you seen ads? You gotta check-
I have.
Oh,
yeah,
you
no, I
yeah.
have. Yeah, they're very entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a bit of
massive
fun.
dudes.
Big
I don't
dudes,
know
yeah.
why you would limit yourself.
Wicked
to,
boat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy
Sick
good boat.
But why would you limit
He's got
yourself
a
to just using
penthouse
your
and a
phone?
dungeon bed. Have you seen that?
Everything I've ever dreamed of.
Well, you can have all that in your new custom boat, Adrian.
No, it's all just going to be fishing. That's it.
Apart from Wind Against Tide and You Fish, Dave, what would be your favourite YouTube fishing channel? Let's
I genuinely do watch Lateral Line.
Yeah.
Do watch Watson.
Yep.
I've forgotten his first name now.
Matt Watson.
Matt Watson. I do watch him, but he's more of like TV and
Format,
then they put
yeah.
a bit up there. But well, you've put me on the spot.
Yeah,
I can only-
it's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's
You know
what about
what?
you, Adrian?
Sometimes I don't actually have a personal favorite. What happens is I click on one of them.
Yeah.
And then you watch it and you get recommended another video.
Yeah.
And you get hooked on,
Yes.
oh, this one's good.
The
Who are these
recommendations.
guys?
Yeah.
I'll tell you
And
what
because
is.
Brody Moss was very
Yeah.
appealing. Like,
Yeah,
he
for
had the
sure.
babes, the good weather, you know, and
The
the
babes.
and the beautiful fish. Like,
yeah.
oh,
And the location that's
the location.
And the babes.
yeah.
and the turtles and the
we
babes.
we don't have babes.
Yeah.
No,
But
not,
I was-
not yet.
That's one I was going to say is Back to Basics. You saying that one? It's
No,
very
that's-
This
similar.
guy went around the north end of Queensland in his V17. Was it?
He's done heaps of stuff like that. They basically, like, I think some of their trips like 4 to 5 months where they just island hop like these beautiful idyllic
Okay.
locations in northern Queensland. But
But they've still got time to get tech out and upload an
Yeah.
episode a week.
Is
But they're
it a guy and
castaways.
his wife or a guy and his girlfriend? or
Girlfriend,
something? Yeah, I have.
but you
seen
know
it,
what?
yeah.
Even something like that can get boring after a while.
Yep.
Continually doing the same, not the exact same thing, but the same style.
It's the same look, and
Yeah.
this is where I think that YouTube's so wonderful because you can have a break from it and go
Mm.
watch something different, and then have a break from that. Because I'm
Do
with you.
you
You can
know
get
what?
tired of it.
YouTube, there's no rules how to make it a video. You can make it
Hmm.
however you like, whatever style. And
Yeah,
if people want to watch it, they'll
they'll
watch,
watch it. If they don't, they won't.
That seems like a lovely way to sum up for this
Yeah.
evening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well done.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us deep drop. We really
Yeah.
enjoyed being
Thanks
on
for
your
dropping
show.
by. It's
Hope
been
you
great.
enjoyed our studio. We
Yes.
put a lot of time and effort into
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
No, we certainly do. And we like that you've put our logo all over your studio. We,
just wanted to make you feel at home.
we do appreciate that. How do we normally sign out of a deep drop episode? Do we put some techno music on?
Yeah, how'd it go?
Waka. I've been Luke and I'm Adam.
Apparently, you've got a squeaky voice, Adam.
And yeah.
Don't
and,
forget to subscribe to the Deep Drop, everyone, and follow us on Instagram.
and once you've done that, be sure to subscribe to us if you haven't already.
And check out our latest fishing videos because they're going up every week.
That's right.
You know,
unless-
weekly fishing videos.
Yeah,
pretty
we're
much, yeah.
Yes, look at you guys go.
We're also very bad at scheduling. Sometimes we'll put 2 episodes up in the same week and then
Yeah, it's
not-
bonus
nothing for a
week.
month.
Yeah.
and then that's right because we schedule it and we like get too excited and just release it anyway.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, yeah.
it's like, oh,
Well, Adrian, you keep doing your videos, mate, because they're fantastic. I love it.
Dave makes them too.
Dave, you
Yeah.
need to do a bit of work.
Dave, you
Um,
just-
Thank you.
Adrian's got all the good cameras. I go with like one GoPro.
Yeah.
It's real raw. You know what I mean?
no, it's hey, you'll get there.
It's the storytelling, not the tech.
Hey,
That's
but
true, it's
thanks
true.
for having us,
Yeah,
though. We
thanks for having
appreciate it.
us.
It's been fun. I think we'll come back. We might do a swap cast one day.
Oh, yes. Can't wait to see what we swap.
Adrian, get
Where
your
are you
mind
guys
out.
recording from, by the way? Have you
I
got a
can't tell you.
just in your
It's
house?
a studio.
Is it
It's
really?
the Bat Cave.
Yeah. It's a Deep Drop studio, of course.
It's
Or is it a space used
it's
for
at the
other-
listener studio in the city. I bet you.
The
Yeah.
what?
Listener app studio.
No, we're not affiliated with Listener yet.
Yeah.
No.
Podcast one.
Well, we are. No,
Yeah.
we're not.
No, we've got our own studio going on.
Mate, and
This is
what a
the-
studio it is. I love it. Thanks for
Well,
the beer.
Yeah, no, thanks for having us.
Thanks for not spilling it.
I don't even know where I am
Oh,
now.
no, yeah, I know. Well, you started with the show,
Yeah,
so
no, fair enough.
it's a theme.
Thanks for
Good work.
watching iFish TV, guys.
Yeah.